Do you ever wish someone would draw you a map and give you the directions to the career of your dreams? If so, consider this podcast your GPS to a career where you feel strong, fulfilled, and passionate about your work, day in and day out. On this show, I'm sharing the tools to help you advocate for your strengths, discover your passions, and learn from folks who transform their careers for the better. My name is Joyel Crawford, your fairy god mentor. And with 18 years of experience in HR at a Fortune 50 company and 20 years of coaching and mentoring top leaders, I am thrilled to be your guide on this career journey. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Career View Mirror, where we explore inspiring career journeys and uncover valuable insights for your professional and your personal growth. I'm your host, Joyel Crawford, and today I am thrilled to welcome a powerhouse in the world of wellness and self-reclamation, Shayna Melissa Stockman, RN, BCANP, PNP, the 2024 Healthcare Pro of the Year, is a renowned expert with over 30 years of board-certified nursing and nurse practitioner experience. After overcoming multiple autoimmune disorders, including MS and heart failure, she healed herself holistically, inspiring even her doctors to become her clients. She's a #1 international best-selling author, and she's celebrated for her groundbreaking approach that fuses naturopathy, holistic, integrative, and functional medicine to address root causes. She's known as the all caps, the autoimmune expert and world wellness expert. She has transformed thousands of lives worldwide. Shayna empowers healthcare advocates and high-achieving women to overcome pain, restore energy, and reduce reliance on prescriptions. And you can learn more about it. We're going to put this on the show notes at worldwellnessexpert.com. We're going to put that all in the show notes. Welcome, Shayna, to the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me and such a wonderful introduction. It's my pleasure to be here today.
I know it's got to be shocking to hear when you hear your own accomplishments like echoed back to you. Sometimes when I hear my own introduction, I'm always like, was that me? Wow. Yeah.
I want to know that girl.
It is so exciting to see you. Shane and I met virtually. We still have not met in person, but we met virtually on a webinar with Mel Robbins. And that woman is a connector. She just released a book called The Let Them Theory, and we just happened to be on the same thing, and we connected in chat, and I'm just so excited to have you here on this podcast. I do want to start off, because the whole premise of Career View Mirror is to basically look back on your career past so that you can pave your career future. And we have very much alignment in that. And I wanted to start at the beginning. So what experience or moment in your life, Shayna, inspired you to pursue a career on helping people reclaim their lives? What inspired you to get involved in their wellness journeys and reclaim that power?
I love this question. It started with my grandma, God rest her soul. She raised me in the 70s with the power of plants, even though my grandpa was a pharmacist. She taught me a lot from, I observed a lot of what she was doing. It wasn't what she said, but I observed her actions. So I would watch her eat a banana every day. And in later years in health class, I would discover that bananas contain potassium, magnesium, and are good for your heart rate and your blood pressure. So I'm like, wow, grandma was self-medicating with natural things that come out of the ground, God's medicine cabinet, and not doing what my grandpa was for the pharmacist. And
Mhm.
I think in hindsight, she did that because my grandpa passed from a drug interaction, a medication
Mm.
interaction. So I think that probably swayed her more the other way. And
Right.
that was, those were aha moments for me. And then I would watch my grandma, all of her siblings, brothers and sisters had diabetes, and she didn't. So I learned in the 70s, even though you have a family gene, you have the power to suppress that gene from being expressed. Only now, 5 decades later, are we talking about gene expression. Grandma taught
Mm.
me that in the 70s. She was many, many years ahead of her time.
Ahead of time.
Yes,
Mhm.
I liked science. I liked math. I didn't like memorizing history. I like things that made sense to me. And then I was in a really bad accident. I was in the hospital. Well, actually, I got a scholarship for nursing. I don't know how I got it because I don't remember applying for it, but because I wasn't interested in it yet. So I started taking liberal arts. I was in a really bad auto accident, and there was a
Mm.
nurse in the hospital, and that was my aha moment. I'm like, maybe God's trying to tell me something. I have this accident. I met this nurse. I had this scholarship. I
Mhm.
love people. She loves helping people. I said, oh my God, she'll never know how many lives she impacted and how many of those lives impacted more lives. And I didn't want to create a rippling effect. I wanted to create a massive tidal wave. So since then, I've inspired a lot of people to become nurses and nurse
Mhm.
practitioners. So I guess that's where it all started.
That's
And
amazing.
to end it off, the scholarship had budget cuts, so the payout was zero. Okay, so I was awarded a scholarship with a zero payout, but I still went into nursing. So there's a will, there's a way, because I had to work multiple jobs simultaneously, take out loans. Nothing was handed to me at all whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
So,
And you have a lot of letters after your name, as my one of my mentors likes to say. He used to tell me I had more letters after my name than the alphabet.
oh,
You are definitely a contender for that moniker as well. What are
thank
some of
you.
those? I know that RN means registered
Sure.
nurse. What do the other letters mean
Sure.
in
And
your
I'll tell you a quick funny story. My significant other, when he went to get me a new name badge, I had a
Mhm.
postmaster's degree of
Mhm.
science. So he put the initials like PMS on there. So yes, I had to put a little smiley sticker over it. I won't forget that one. So RN is registered nurse. That
Mhm.
means you're up to a national standard in the US. You took required classes, courses, had
Mhm.
experience, passed on hands tests and written tests
Mhm.
nationally, that are accepted nationally. Then RNBC is board certified. So not that shows it's a national board certification, American Academy of Nurse
Mhm.
Practitioners. So it shows not only am I up to national standard, I had to sit for tests proving I'm up to national standard. And then every few years, I have to prove to the board that I did continuing education credits that were appropriate for me and significant enough credits, and that I maintained an excellent reputation that
Wow.
they then recertify me every few years. So that's a national certification that I've
Mhm.
maintained spotless since the
Mhm.
1990s when I first got it. And
Mhm.
same with the RN, I've never had a suit against me ever in over 30
Ooh,
years. That is huge, ever. Also, the ANP is an adult nurse practitioner.
wow.
So I am licensed as an adult nurse practitioner. The
Mhm.
PNP is I'm also licensed as a pediatric nurse practitioner, because when I got my adult, I didn't want age to hold me back because my clients were like, can you treat my little one? And I'm like,
Mm.
soon, yes. And so I went back and so I have 4 nursing licenses, my LPN, RN, adult nurse practitioner, pediatric nurse practitioner, 5 college degrees, 4 nursing licenses, and I don't want any more. I'm good.
OMG.
Yeah,
And the
thank
cartridge
you.
in the pear tree.
Oh, God.
How much time did it take how long did it take to get all of those certifications and licensing?
Years. So when I went for my RN, I took the LPN test while I was in RN school, just in case I didn't pass the RN, but I passed it. So I had both as soon as I graduated. But I knew being a nurse was not enough because I knew what my patients needed. So I'd have
Mhm.
to ask the doctor for the order. I'm like,
Okay.
listen, this one has a UTI. Can you order a culture? Can we get this for this one? And it was
Mhm.
pulling teeth, and they didn't want to give the orders that the patients needed. And I was advocating for them. And I
Mhm.
was saying, listen, this patient really needs this. So I'm like, what can I do about this? Oh, I can become a nurse practitioner and write the orders. So
Nice.
that's exactly what I did. So
So
it
you have
was several,
control.
yeah, several years. You need at least 2 years of prereqs to go into the nursing program. The
Mhm.
nursing program I got into was extremely hard to get in. You had to have great grades. They had a 98% success rate on the boards the first time around. I was out in the field 1 year. I became supervisor of an entire agency. And I said, whoa, I can't afford to own this. I better go back to school. So I went back for my bachelor's. Then I said, oh, bachelor's is at least 2 more years in
Mhm.
medical because you have all these hospital hours to do. Then I went for my master's as an adult nurse practitioner, and that's at least 2 more years. But I did it in a
Okay.
year and a half because I did like double hours in half the time. And because I wanted to graduate ahead of everyone else so that I'm not competing for a job as a new grad without experience. And
Wow.
then they had a family program, but they only wanted to give you a half of a semester in pediatrics. And I didn't
Mhm.
think that was enough. So I finished the adult program, got nationally board certified, right back postmasters, and I condensed the 2 year postmasters into 1 year. And it was insane.
I can
So normally
imagine.
a lot of years. Yeah.
That's a lot,
Crazy.
and I think it's good for our listeners to know, like, that you just don't pop out of an egg, crack out of an egg with, 1 degree and move forward. If you want to create the change that you see in this world, you need to sit for these
Mm,
certifications and do this testing and go to extra
yes.
classes and, get the extra degrees. So it's really interesting, and I thank you for taking us through that
Sure.
path of what you did. Now, can you describe like what a typical day looks like as an autoimmune
Hmm.
expert? Like, what
It's
does that look like?
when I wake up, I'm glad to be alive, breathing, walking, talking, hearing, smelling, just the attitude of gratitude. I down my liquid collagen with some other things that I take that can adaptogens, I call them natural plant based things that could activate my genes and genetic highways so I can revert back to my younger self. I do
Ooh.
that. I drink a healthy, energizing drink with methylated bees and adaptogens to help me focus and concentrate. Then it depends on the day because I do
Mhm.
in person and online classes, courses, workshops, speaking engagements, book signings, private consultations on video, Zoom like visits like this, but
Mhm.
are private and confidential. So every day is so different. Some days I do podcasts like this, and then I rush off to do a virtual visit, or I'm hosting an online class, course, or workshop. So there is no typical day, but I
There's no
just say,
typical day.
no, have the attitude of gratitude, certain
Mhm.
daily habits. Oh, I like to do a 4-minute happy dance a day. There's about,
Oh.
yeah, career women out there, there's about 1,440 minutes in a day. You deserve at least 4 of them. You are worthy. You are deserving. So what I like to do is pick a happy song and
Mhm.
just dance. It de-stresses you, releases endorphins, makes you
I love
feel
it.
good, burns a couple calories, thickens your bones a little, and a 4-minute dance. Like I like Happy by Pharrell. Okay. It's 4 minutes,
Mhm.
a longer song. That's 24 hours of exercise at the end of the year. So these little tiny
Ooh.
habits could
Mhm.
be good. We don't have to have just bad habits to get rid of. We can create good habits in our busy working lifestyles that can help us really move the needle forward. So that's what I help a lot of career women do is move the needle forward in little bite-sized pieces, like
I
one pot
love it.
cooking meals. Yeah, things like that.
I'm already thinking in my brain of when I can have that happy dance so I can just keep it moving.
Every day, do a 4-minute happy dance. I like to show women how to do one pot wonders, cook with healthy ingredients, natural anti-inflammatories all in one pot. So to save you time, because we're always
Mhm.
career women, we're always so busy, but we often put ourselves last, right? Especially as
Absolutely.
women.
Absolutely.
Yes, self-care is important, and I didn't realize that. They always say put on your own oxygen mask first, and I
Mhm.
would tell my patients, caregivers that, but I was guilty of not doing that. So ladies, you gotta
Same here.
make self-care time, right? 4
Ab
minutes out of 1,440 in a day, or like 1 hour in a day. That's out of 24 hours. You deserve an hour. You are worthy. You are deserving. And
Yeah.
it took me a long time to realize that and to start saying no to things.
Oh, and that is something I say in my book all the time is no is a complete sentence. And that's one of my themes this year is to prioritize me and honor my worth. And my time is valuable. And
Yes.
yeah, you
Yes.
can always make more money, but you can't make more time, right?
Yes. I learned that from actually Matthew McConaughey on a Zoom this past year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, we were on a Zoom and he was telling about how he was turning down roles because they weren't the right role, weren't enough
Mhm.
money. He was saying no, and people thought he was crazy. They're like, "You're turning down X number of $1 million." And he's like, "Yeah." But what he did was every time he said no, that freed up time and energy for the right thing. Like, ladies, if you're in the wrong job and you're miserable, you don't necessarily have time to go look for the right job.
Right.
So it's important sometimes to say no.
Exactly. No needs to be part of our lexicon.
Yes.
So speaking of true things and false things, like things that we're learning, I would like to
Mm.
talk about dispelling some myths. Now,
Ooh.
many entrepreneurs also suffer from symptoms that hold them back, just like not having boundaries, right? And may think that it's normal aging. A lot of doctors are just like, "Oh, it's just you're just getting older. That's just what happens when you get older." What pro tips? What can we? How can we break that myth about wellness? That it's not
Yes.
just normal aging. What tips could you share with us?
Love, love, love this question. I'm very passionate about autoimmune disorders because I had them myself and I had the
Mhm,
heart failure and I was diagnosed with MS. A lot of times the ladies get blown off on average for years before their correct diagnosis.
mhm.
A lot of times we chalk it up to, oh, we're getting older. We're supposed to be achy. We're supposed to be tired. We're supposed to forget things. No, okay. There's a lot of old people that don't have pain, don't have brain fog, and aren't tired. It's not. So the myth busted is pain, aches, hair thinning, weight gain, inability to lose weight, weird rashes, fatigue are not just a sign of getting older. This is very, very, very important to know.
Yeah.
A lot of times we chalk it up to getting older. And a lot of times when we go to the doctor, not all doctors, but a lot of times it's a male doctor that's taller that looks down upon us, thinks we are
Mhm,
exaggerating, does some
mhm.
simple, says, oh, you're getting older. Oh, it's your hormones. And, or they do basic, very extreme basic tests and say, oh, you're fine. The typical patient with autoimmune disorders gets misdiagnosed for at least 3 years. That means they're suffering at least 3 years after they went to the doctor.
Mm,
So the typical signs of autoimmune that are usually not just aging, it's like this. You know those warning signs in your car, right? The
mhm.
dummy lights, the warning signs. If the oil light goes on, it says, whoa, fix me now when it's a little problem, or you're going to need to spend a ton of money on an engine. So these symptoms are warning signs like your car warning you if you don't address them, something bigger is going to happen. So let me just
Mm,
explain to you the common symptoms that are thought of as just aging, but are usually and often, not always, autoimmune disorders. And you can have some of these, you don't need all of these.
okay.
Hair thinning. Exhaustion, even if you're sleeping 8 hours, you're still tired. You're in more pain than you should be. You weren't working out, running a triathlon, and you feel pain is holding you back. You have weird rashes. You have shortness of breath, and maybe the doc chalks it up to anxiety. It could be that. Maybe your sugars are going a little high. Your blood pressure is going at a little
Mhm,
high. Maybe
mhm.
your kidney function's a little off. You have symptoms of IBS, diarrhea or constipation, nausea, vomiting, stomach upset. Those are more of the common ones. Inability to lose weight or even gain weight. You didn't change your diet and you didn't change your exercise, but yet you're gaining weight. And you're like, oh, yeah, they told me about this menopausal thing. These are the common signs, but there's a lot more. Also, let me just think. Those are the common ones. Maybe your thyroid's a little off
Oh, mhm.
and Hashimoto. So some of the common diagnoses. Now you can have some of these and not all, but other keys are it's the doctors are giving you false reassurance that the tests are okay.
Right.
You feel something's not right, but the doctor is telling you it is. It's usually the symptoms show years before the tests usually tell. You need the right test at the
Mhm,
right time with the right diagnostician that's
mhm.
putting the pieces of the puzzle together, your symptoms and the test. Because just looking at a test result means absolutely nothing to me, to be
Right,
honest. Most of the
right.
tests are not accurate. They put you on a bell curve with 100 people, and if you fall within, they're like, okay, you're normal. So that you have to advocate for yourself. Go to the doctor, advocate, say, you know what, I want to be tested for autoimmune. uh, ask for more tests, go to a specialist, seek a consult with me. I will give you a video private consultation based on the labs that you already have and your
Mhm.
symptoms. But it's
Mhm.
very, very important. So it's not just aging,
And
not
it's not
usually.
all in your head. Like, I think,
No.
when you see the normal, because I've gone through this and I was diagnosed with alopecia areata as one of the autoimmune diseases. And as we're finding out, usually if you have one, you have
Mm-hmm.
more than
2,
one.
3,
And
yeah,
yeah, so it's
4.
kind of like, what? And, I feel like I have gone through the alphabet of doctors and specialists numerous times, and they're like, everything's normal. Everything's normal. But when you don't feel normal, I love it, Shayna, that you are helping women empower themselves to
Yes.
advocate, to show their ass,
Yes.
and advocate for their wellness and health. And
And
it's
it's
just
an
not
Yeah,
made
it's
up.
an uphill battle because sometimes we think the doctor knows best. And then
Right.
if we go to the doctor and he doesn't know, he sends you to the specialist. Now,
Mhm.
typically for autoimmune, you go to a rheumatologist.
Right.
However, 99% of medications, they go to medical school to practice medicine, which is what they know. Medicines usually treat symptoms, not underlying causes. So they're just
Mm.
like a band-aid or masking tape on a garden hose. They're good for now. You might feel a little better. But
Mhm.
yet a lot of those medications have side effects, interactions, and can cause death, right? A lot of the times I knew when I got my autoimmune disorder, after being a licensed healthcare provider for 30 years, I did not want to happen to me what happened to all the patients that were treated. I saw no matter which autoimmune disorder, which doctor, which specialist they went to, the job of the meds was to suppress their immune system. So
Mhm.
those patients were sick more often. They're sick longer with more severe symptoms. Then they're getting side effects of the meds and need new meds. So when I got my autoimmune, I'm like, no, you're not doing that to me. I knew I had to do something different to get different results. That's where I work with the patients. And my
Mhm.
upcoming Reclaim Your Life Super Workshop, Power Hour, and the 90-day program takes them through A through Z, everything they need. What are the signs, the symptoms? What are the tests? What are little autoimmune basics? See, autoimmune is one of the top leading causes of death in young to middle-aged women. One of the
Wow.
leading causes of death, but so are the medications used to treat them. And this is important to know. Recently, I was speaking at an international convention of over 5,000 nurse practitioners, and
Mhm.
I was their autoimmune expert teaching them. And afterwards, a lot of them came up to me and expressed, how did you learn all this? Now, they went to good schools and they're smart, to
Mhm.
pass these tests. But a lot of what I teach was not taught in my traditional college 5 degrees. It was taught outside by world renowned scientists, doctors, taking other classes, courses, workshops, doing my own individual research. So I had an aha moment that if these NPs and other and doctors as well don't know the techniques that I use that are so successful, how can they offer it to their patients? And if they can't offer it to all the options to their patients can't make a truly informed decision. So I'm
Right.
also on a mission, not just to empower the ladies to get and feel better while reducing their reliance on meds, but I'm also on a mission to enlighten healthcare providers, because the typical healthcare provider sees about 1,000 people a year with autoimmune disorders.
Ooh,
Mm.
1,000
Crazy
people.
stats. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. On
Yes.
average, it varies depending on
Right.
specialty and whatnot.
Now,
Mm.
what would you this is my favorite question to ask all of my guests is what career advice would you give little Shayna?
Ooh, I got a whole bunch. Okay,
Yeah.
one, if you're in the medical field, never have your boss as your doctor. That is a no-no. I did that. It's bad. You think, okay, I can get the tests I want, the prescriptions, the referrals. No, 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 because he will never give you off. Okay. I It's
That's
true.
very true.
I needed jaw reconstruction after an auto accident. I was having my face cut all the way down, my skull bones shaved down to pop my jaw back in. And I said, Doc, I'm gonna need some time off for this. Like, really, you know, uh, they're doing it on Wednesday. I can't come back to work on Friday. I'm still going to be in the hospital. How am I going to get a stethoscope in my ear to hear heart
Mhm.
and brain lung sounds? He goes, no, 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 it's okay. You can come back on Friday. So never have your boss as your doctor, number one. Yes, they'll never, give you a note to take off. Other ones, if you're in a toxic job, you don't have to stay.
That's
Why do we have to feel we have to stay? There's a million other jobs out there. I'm not saying quit it tomorrow if you need the money. Stay, look around, maybe take a week vacation, test the waters at the new job
right.
first to see if you like it. Other things I would say, get a good mentor. I did not have a good mentor.
Mm.
Look for someone that could mentor you, someone that's been there, done that. I'm a great mentor to a lot of nursing students, nurse
Mhm,
practitioner students, residents, but
mhm,
I feel I had not had that. And also, they say you become the sum of your five. So the five people you're mostly around will be your average. So if you're hanging out
mm.
with four drinkers at the bar till 4 a.m, you're going to be the fifth, right?
Right.
So you become the sum of your five. So choose your five top wisely who you hang around. Oh, and definitely make time for self-care.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I gotta tell you this. I was running an ER when the pandemic started. I was the
Mm,
only provider, short-staffed, triple patients. I was in heart failure. Okay, heart failure, heart failure. My heart was not working. And I'm getting worse because of the stress of the job, running around trying to take care of everyone. And I'm like, oh my God, like I'm an organ failure. We need these they're called vital organs for a reason. You know what? This job lasted before me.
mhm,
They found a way before me. They'll find a way
mhm,
after me.
mhm,
I need at this time to just say, whoa, I need a few days off because the job was literally killing me. So please, ladies, self-care. If it's a 4 minute happy dance, if
mm.
you're miserable, keep your options open for other jobs. I was at that urgent care, that ER, and I was counting down the hours till I get to leave or the days till I was off. It doesn't have to be like that. There's
Yeah.
jobs out there with positive people. I can go on and on. Oh, think outside the box. The most successful people thought outside the box. Just don't be a follower. You can also choose to be a leader. Just because it's never been done before doesn't mean it's not going to be successful, right? So Richard
Yeah,
Branson
absolutely.
said, I'm going to send people to outer space. Christopher Columbus thought the world was round. Everyone's like, you crazy. Steve Jobs
Mhm,
said there'll be a computer in every household in the 80s. People like, you crazy. You know what? They were all right. So be a
mhm.
forward thinker. Forward thinker. That's gonna,
Awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Awesome advice. Awesome advice.
Thank you.
And I no, I really appreciate all these wonderful pieces of advice because usually it's just like, you think about one thing, but it's like if you have an opportunity to talk to the younger self, a lot of different things
Oh,
pop up, like
yeah.
we learn lessons and it's so good to share them and people can learn from that, right?
Mm.
One other question is where can we find you? Like,
Oh,
where do you exist? How
I'm
can people
all
find
over.
more about you?
I'm on all the socials, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn. I have a YouTube channel at Shayna Melissa. The easiest place to find me is worldwellnessexpert.com. When
Okay.
they're there, they can sign up to get my newsletters, to get exclusive invites, special savings. They can get a daily dose of positivity. They can join our upcoming Reclaim Your Life Power Hour. It's a power hour. A lot of people have 5-day challenges where you have to block out a week of your time,
Mhm.
and we are so busy. But ladies out there and the few men that are on, it's important. You deserve 1 hour out of 24 in the day, out of almost 200 in a week, right? It's 170 something hours in a week. You deserve at least one. So I have a Reclaim Your Life Power Hour where I take my 30 plus years of licensed healthcare pro experience, condense it into one, no fluff, all the stuff you need. Power Hour. That's at worldwellnessexpert.com/reclaim. And that's going to give them a good jump start for those that want my
Mhm.
90-day program. Because in our
Ooh.
busy lifestyles, we need to do little things to move our needle forward, like a 4 minute
Yeah.
happy dance, like a one pot
Yes.
wonder. So the 90-day program is great for the busy working entrepreneur that can move their needle forward in little steps. With every week a different lesson they can watch, put it on double speed, half speed. Every week I will get on live to recap the lesson and a live Q&A, a couple
Nice.
of private consults. Yeah, the 90-day program spreads it out where they can learn on their own, go ahead, slow down, because they get the modules ahead, but they also get me every week to recap and live Q&A. So it comes with the workbook, a printable and digital version, a manual, 2 private consults, one in the beginning, one at the end. So it's
Ooh,
little needles every week. One week I help you find out what food aggravates, triggers your autoimmune. So now I say, okay, this week we figured out your triggers, food triggers. Please go through your cupboard, donate them to the food pantry. It's just a little thing to move your needle forward. So
nice.
worldwellnessexpert.com and subscribe
That's
to
it.
the YouTube at Shayna Melissa.
I want to thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing your expertise and your story of how you were able to reclaim your life and wellness, and you're helping others do the same. Thank you
Oh,
so much for being on the podcast today.
thank you for allowing me to share my story. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and inviting me on.
Yes. And everyone, thank you for listening and watching. And, if you are enjoying all of this, make sure you like and subscribe and share it with someone else who maybe find value in this as well. Thanks, and see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Career View Mirror. If you got value from this episode, please consider leaving a rating and review for the show on Apple Podcasts, or head on over to Spotify and click 5 stars for our show. We also have a YouTube channel with video versions of our episodes, so subscribe over there for more content. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next episode.